Happy Wednesday, my gritty Vikings. It is time to get to work. Let's see. Nobody has commented on Google Classroom yet, so get on Google Classroom. Do you want to see the Forky video for tomorrow? Do you want to hear some chants? I need to hear from you. There's no real school news today, except if you have finished your old packets, make sure you get them turned in. There are parents that will sometimes turn them in at lunch. And if you didn't pick up a new set of packets, get them. Come through the line at lunch. Mr. Casillas will work and he can give you a packet and get a lunch while you're there. If you don't want the lunch, just keep going. Remember, the packets are also available digitally, so you can try that. With that said, let's get to work. Okay, let's take a look at day 2. First of all, for reading and writing, you've got read a book or article of your choice. Easy peasy, we do that every day. Read together and annotate source 2, melting sea ice, bringing polar bears and humans closer together. That's part of our do what chart here that we wrote the other day. Read source 3. Research study shows animals are responsible for 84% of wildfires. Day 2 math. You have a task to do, procedural palette, practice page, challenge page, and fluency page. All right, well, let's take a look at what we've got here. So, source 2. Melting sea ice brings polar bears and humans closer together. Carlos Sims Coyote peeked outside one morning last year in one of the U.S. Arctic's northernmost villages. And what do I see? 2 huge eyes staring at me. It was a baby polar bear cub, she recalled. My eyes got huge and his eyes got huge. I slammed my door shut. Burning fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and gas, as well as deforestation, have pushed global temperatures up by nearly 2 degrees Fahrenheit since the 1800s. The Arctic is warming faster than anywhere else. This is driving polar bears onto the doorsteps of native Alaskans. Sea ice retreats in the Beaufort Sea off of Alaska into waters that can be too deep for foraging, increasing numbers of polar bears that are forced to find food on the coast. And if they're hungry enough, they roam into Arctic villages. Warmer temperatures have also melted locals' traditional permafrost freezers. The natives have relied on these for more than 100 years to store whale meat called muktuk after their hunt. Now they're open to hungry bear raids. Bears attracted to villagers' food supply. The more humans and bears interact, the greater chance there is that someone or some bear will get hurt. Now there are 2 efforts underway to help properly store food. Last fall, a non-profit group called Defenders of the Wildlife shipped 4 specially designed stainless steel food containers to Paktovik. They are 6 feet long and cost $10,000 each. Sims Kayutuk is one of the people testing the containers. She hopes it can teach the bears that there's nothing for them to eat in the villages. They made it through the rest of the winter. It looks like they're doing really well into winter number 2, says Carla Dutton. She's the Alaska program leader for the nonprofit group. She feels good about the containers, but wants to see if they can continue to be successful. Dutton said she's trying to get more containers because I think everyone will need an alternative to their ice cellars. She said there's been an increased interest from the community for the storage containers. Back in 2008, people were saying, well, I still have an ice cellar. Not anymore. Sims Kayutuk says there's only one working permafrost cellar that remains in the village of about 250 people. The non-profit Paktovik Community Foundation is also building an underground cellar. It might be ready for trial next winter. Trying to see when this was written. Doesn't have it. Meanwhile, polar bears continue to be lured to the area by bone piles left over from whale hunts. Bears lingering on land longer than normal. While this situation has turned Paktovik into a popular tourist spot, the bears are starting to show up earlier and stay later as the open water season gets longer. If there isn't any food, they might start wandering into town. Okay, so that's that article. Now remember, we're thinking about going back to the first days where it said, our direction said, develop a claim or thesis to explain how the behaviors of humans affect the environment. So on yesterday we read about the coral reefs. Today we're reading about the polar area. So you need to keep in mind what is humans' responsibility to this? What's going on? So this is another article. Now think for a little bit about what we've learned from our Brian stories. Bears are instinctual animals. They are going to come after where they know there's food. And when they were saying permafrost and ice cellars, there's areas of the world, or there was an area of the world, where the soil, after you dug about 12 inches down, the soil was frozen. And the people had hollowed that out and turned it into a natural cellar. It was like one big walk-in freezer. Well, that's melting. So the bears would go down there and be like, oh, free food. So instead, they came in and they brought in these great big expensive freezers, because whales are huge. And it's not like they're bigger than cows. It's not like you can sit there and say, oh, I've got some meat. Mom and dad have meat in the freezer. This is a lot of meat. So that's why they have these huge freezers to try to keep the food safe and away from the bears. So that's source 2. Let's look at source 3. Research studies show humans are responsible for 84% of wildfires. Wow, it's really hard to read that title and think that there's an alternative than humans are responsible for the mess. Let's see. A new study shows that 84% of U.S. wildfires have been started by people. The study was conducted by scientists at the University of Colorado Boulder. In certain parts of the country, the percentage of wildfires started by humans was even higher. In California's Central Valley, that's us, and along parts of its coast, people cause 97% of the wildfires. So think about when we've had wildfires around here. It's almost certain that a person started it. Over the last 20 years, about 90 million acres in the United States have been burned in wildfires. These fires have vastly expanded the area burned and the extent of the fire season, the researchers say. Sometimes fires are set intentionally in order to manage ecosystems and keep them healthy. But this is done by experts who carefully determine where to start. These are usually excluded from the study. Mapping California's wildfires. In California's dry Mediterranean climate region, 89% of the total 5,921,861 acres burned were caused by human-started fires. The region extends along the California coast from the Mexican border north to San Francisco, and it also goes inland to the Central Valley. The study pointed out that wildfires started by humans tripled the length of the fire season, the time when wildfires are likely. The human-started wildfires burn far more land than fires started by lightning. Fires started by people were responsible for almost half of the burned area. One of the biggest wildfires in recent Southern California history, the 2003 Cedar Fire in San Diego County, was started by a lost hunter. He said he meant it as a signal, but it got out of control. Other large fires in California have been sparked by other human causes. They include broken power lines, people lighting things on fire intentionally, lit cigarettes, fireworks, or children playing with fire. The results were published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Jennifer K. Balch led the study with Adam L. Mahood as the senior author. Researchers look at 20 years of federal state records. The team used federal and state records from 1992 to 2012. They found that people cause more than 40,000 wildfires a year across the United States. July 4th was the most common day for human-started fires. The most common day for a lightning-started fire was July 22nd. That's just random. It doesn't mean like on July 22nd we all go out there and go, ooh, it's going to be Start Fire Day. Wildfires play an important natural role in the ecosystem, says Balch, director of the University of Colorado Boulder's Earth Lab. Suppressing them has an unintended bad effect, such as making the fires that eventually occur even more devastating. There are good fires and there's bad fires, Balch said. The study looks at the wildfires that require some sort of suppression or emergency response, but there's a lot of room for us to start the right kinds of fire. The prescribed fires that control burns that many ecosystems, particularly the western states, need in order to be healthy. Getting public support for increasing controlled burns is a tricky problem. People don't like smoke, and they don't like the risk of fire burning in our neighborhood, she said. But we're already living with that risk because we're putting houses and people in flammable landscapes. We tried the failed experiment for over 100 years of suppressing fire and trying to get fire out, and we didn't win that war. Humans are mostly responsible for wildfires starting in spring. Humans have caused increasing numbers of large wildfires occurring in the spring, the study said. In the summer, increasing numbers of wildfires were largely driven by lightning. A warmer climate in recent years has helped extend the potential range of the fire station in western states, Balch said. However, humans literally set the spark. People are providing the ignition during this longer fire season and also contributing to large fires. It's not either people or climate, it's both. It's unclear what the future holds with regard to climate. Studies about the future indicate that global warming will continue. By the end of the century, the number of lightning strikes is expected to increase by 50% due to global warming, the study stated. Even if that happens, though, the study said humans would still be the main cause of fires in the United States. Sorry, I had to get some water. So think about this as, and this was written before the fires of the last couple of years that have devastated Northern California. So keep that in mind as you're reading this. Power lines, people, they're doing more harm. So go through all these, find your notes. Let's go back to what we wrote on Monday and take a look at this. It says, use more than one source. Okay, we've done that. Take notes. All right, so you've got to go back to your claim over here. Organize, elaborate, and cite your sources. So your claim is, going back to the exact wording, how behaviors of humans affect the environment. And I know the next question, well, how do I even start this, Ms. Rimmer? Well, we can start with something like humans can have a huge negative impact on the environment. And then what I would probably go from here is give me one paragraph where you're talking about maybe source one and talk about the C's. Here, I'll change colors so we go with our thing. Talk about the C's and the corals. Another paragraph, talk about the polar bears and the ice cap. Another paragraph, talk about fires, and then go ahead and write a conclusion. So this could be a really good opening sentence and then lead it into this. Go ahead and add a bit more about it, and then this would be a nice basic outline for you. All right, let's move on to math. Task. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see if we can get this a little bit closer. Boom. Sadie computes the parameter of a rectangle by adding the length L and the width W and doubling the sum. Eric computes the parameter of a rectangle by doubling the length L, doubling the length W, and adding the doubled amounts. Write an expression for Sadie's way. So let's see. She says she's doing length plus width times 2, and Eric is doing 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Then you want to take these informations and put them in here. This has a length of 30 and a width of 75, so you're just going to substitute. Explain why they're always going to get the same answer. So you got to work it out and then explain why this is basically the same bit of information. I would think about that, but shh, keep it on the DL. All right. Evaluating, write an expression. An expression. That means I don't want an answer. The sum of y and 7. Well, what does sum tell us we're going to do? Y and 7. That's all they want you to do. Remember, less than means you're going to subtract. Product means you're going to multiply. And quotient means you're going to divide. I'm going to let you guys work on the other ones, okay? But it's basically you're just writing the expression, no equal sign. All right, 2/3 divided by 1.5. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a different one to do. So let's do 7/8 divided by 1. I know, hold on. Trying to make something that'll be kind of easy. I'm going to change it slightly. All right, remember when we are dividing, we're actually going to multiply. And in order to multiply, I am going to turn this one around. But first, I have to figure out what am I even talking about? Because I have a fraction and I've got a mixed number. 2.5. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. All right, and then I'm just going to multiply and reduce. 4 times 2 is 8. 6 times 5 is 30. I can divide those by 2. Gives me 4/15. There's my answer. I'm going to leave that up there. Now, use any strategy to solve. Well, that's the strategy I used. Use models or visuals. Try to draw it out. Write a story. You're going to have to make this into a word problem of some kind, but you're actually going to use that. And how do you know your answer is correct? Remember, you can always multiply it back in and see if it is true. And that's it. That is day 2. So keep working. And if you have any questions, please contact me on Google Classroom, Dojo, or any other means necessary. So for that, I bid you goodbye.